Mr. Atkinson, listen, I think it's totally disgusting what's going on right now, and I feel that we have to do something about it, and we have to chew gum and walk at the same time. So the judicial issue is as important, but of course it won't bring you immediately some bread and butter on the table, because you have to take a look and take care of the people first so they can get a job or at least keep them. I don't understand the issue between should the government, the provincial government, or the union should sue Air Canada or Avios, well, Avios in that case, or to find a way to make sure that Air Canada comply within the law. Just in a short time, you said you're ready, you don't want to talk about it, but you're ready to do so. Is that my understanding, that the union would be ready to sue Air Canada to make sure that they comply with the law?
That's something that's been discussed with our legal, and that's about as far as I can go right now.
Is it possible that if the international doesn't want to do it because of some other interests or some strategic reason, would it be possible that the regional compound of your union would be able then to sue Air Canada? If, for example, Winnipeg or Quebec wants to do it by themselves, would it be possible to do so?
I guess it would be possible, but we don't have a problem with our international. International Vice President Dave Ritchie has made it very clear that we will do whatever is necessary.
Can you please indicate which section of the Air Canada Public Participation Act refers to Avios?
It obviously does not.
It does not.
Avios, no.
Which section of the Air Canada Public Participation Act refers to your union?
It does not.
It does not. So there's no section in the law then that forces your union to represent the workers that will ultimately do the overhaul and maintenance work, and there's no section in the law banning Avios from going bankrupt.
And what's your point? I think,
I'm actually, the reason I asked my question is because I'm trying to find out what you want the federal government to do with respect to the law.
Well, what we would like the federal government to do to at least respect the spirit of the law and keep the aircraft maintenance industry in Canada.
Okay, but what specific actions are you asking for?
Well, I'm not here to direct the government to do anything.
Well, presumably you have some.
Excuse me.
No.
Can I answer the question?
No,
or
you just said you're not going to answer the question.
I have to, Monsieur Coder, on a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask for some respect, allowing the witness to respond.
I was going to ask the witness to finish his comments, and then we'll go back to Mr. Poilievre, please.
Thank you. We don't have a direction for the government when, like I said, we're not here to talk about the law. I mean, there's going to be tons and tons of lawyers right across the country that will be dealing with this. What we're looking at is the fact that what we really need and what we're asking for is some respect for the people that have been taxpayers, citizens of this country, have been working to keep the airline going over the last 10 years.
Point of order.
Mr. Poilievre, on a point of order.
I'm sorry, I would like to move on with my questioning. My question was very specifically what the union was asking for from the Government of Canada, and he has not touched on that question so far. So I'm wondering if I can just move on to my next question.
I'll just ask Mr. Atkinson to wrap up his comment, and then we'll go back to questions, please.
And that's fine.
Mr. Poilievre.
According to Air Canada, both equity and debt contributions to Avios over the last 5 years have reached $975 million, just under $1 billion. It appears the company Avios has burned through that $1 billion, and said that even if Air Canada gave an additional $15 million to try and keep it alive, it could not do so. Given that we've established that there's nothing in the Act that would force Avios to continue operating, and that there's nothing in the Act requiring that your union represent the employees, that leaves one option if we were to want to continue Avios's operations, and that would be a bailout. How much money do you believe a bailout would cost the Canadian taxpayers to keep Avios functioning?
And I don't think that we're here asking for a bailout in any regard. What we're asking for is support from the government that at some point that we would be open to, or that they would assist in getting someone else or another investor or operator that's interested in continuing the business of Avios and moving forward, so that our members that are out on the street have a future in a company that can carry on the business.
Could I say something? I listened to some of the testimony from the Thursday hearing. I wasn't here. And I'm impressed with this $975 million figure, which it was suggested, and I guess suggested again this morning, that Avios received something like $975 million. What in fact happened was, and I think it's what even Mr. Rovanescu said on Thursday, was that a majority of the company was sold in 2004.
Okay. Mr. Chair, first of all, I didn't pose the question to Mr. Ehrlichman, and secondly, this is not a reference. His comments do not relate to my question whatsoever. So I'm going to move on to my next question.
On a point of order, I will ask Mr. Polyev to continue.
You said, Mr. Atkinson, now you're saying you don't want a bailout, but during your statements you said, while all this has been unfolding, the federal government has stood by, making no effort to, quote, save this company. You've conceded that there's nothing in the Act that would save this company. That would leave a bailout, and you've now ruled that out as well. So what exactly are you asking the federal government to do?
I wouldn't say that I've ruled out a bailout. I'm not sure what the government can do for us. What we're asking is that the jobs or the employment of 2,600 people should be of interest to even the Conservative government, and that we should be worried about employment and jobs right across the country. We're asking for assistance from the government to make sure that those people get jobs in the future.
So you accept that they will not be working with Avios in the future?
I accept that Avios is gone, and I'm kind of glad that they're gone, because they don't seem to be a very good company to work for.
And Air Canada has said that it will have to replace the contract work that was previously going to Avios, and that its preference is for the replacement provider to also employ Canadians. Does that provide you with any comfort?
Well, certainly does, yes.
And so what form do you think that could take? Do you see a new company purchasing Avios assets and hiring former Avios employees, continuing the operations to Air Canada and other clients, potentially?
I would hope so, yes. That would be our goal.
I do want to start with acknowledging I am from Winnipeg, and I do acknowledge the impact that this has on our community, and the workers losing their jobs is devastating, and we do take that seriously. Last week, when Air Canada was here, I asked them directly regarding, as they go forward and what they see as opportunities, and possibly bringing others to. The assets are there for Avios, like you've indicated. The facilities are there. And above all, the workforce is there. The skilled work, the labor pools are there in these centers. They indicated a desire to find somebody that would potentially be able to move into those facilities and continue going forward. Are you also actively looking for those kind of opportunities, and possibly even willing to work alongside Air Canada in attracting somebody who may come forward, an existing company that may come forward and use those facilities in order to create these opportunities and these jobs again in Canada?
Yes, certainly.
And are you actively involved in that?
Yes, we are.
You are. So you would be very, very open to a new group. You had actually indicated to Mr. Polyev that to some degree you're happy to see AVOs go. That so you'd be very open to another company coming forward and being part of the solution here.
Yes, as you indicated, a solution, a long-term solution is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody's looking for here. We want to see a long-term solution to this too. You're asking us to do something, and I think we are happy to, try to do something here to help this go forward. It would be helpful for us, though, if we had some concrete, responses from you as to, are there ways that you see that we can work together with you to bring a solution to this?
I think what we'd like to see is to get all the parties together at some point to sit down and talk about those solutions. I mean, it's...
When you say all the parties, can you...
Well, the government, Air Canada, the unions, if there are investors out there that are looking to invest in the company or someone that can operate it, then it should be all of us together working to try to make sure that it happens.
Okay. So, and you are pursuing, from some of the reading I've done, opportunities for some possible investors?
Yes.
And you're getting good response on that at this point in time?
It's early in the discussions, so at this point I can't say a whole lot about it.
Right. But you feel good about it, the potential?
Well, at this point, I'm not feeling real good about anything because I still got so many people out of work, so it's a tough position.
Those workers, those that have been trained and have those technical skills, from your conversations with them, is there a desire to start up again, to have a fresh beginning and to have an opportunity to work in the centers that they're in and in the positions that they're in?
Sure, the vast majority of them would like to do that. I mean, as we talked about earlier, a decade of things being totally negative and a real sort of trying time has definitely caused some people to start looking for other employment, which is part of, or one of our fears, is that if we don't do something quickly with this and move on, that we will lose the people that have that technology and training because they'll have to move on to something else. So, but to your question, yes, I think the majority of the people would be willing. It's been their life, it's been what they've trained for, and what they would like to continue doing.
Okay, but there are some you're getting a sense of that they're already finding other opportunities then?
I think that they have no choice. I mean, because they're not getting money from anywhere, they've obviously had to start looking for places for any type of work to pay their bills and keep their kids fed and clothed. So,
what's the average age of the people in your organization as far as the age? Are they all like under 40, over 40?
The Avios group would probably be under 40 as a whole.
It's only January 2011 that the Canadian Industrial Labour Board recognized Avios as a separate legal entity from Air Canada, because Air Canada, all the workers came from Air Canada, right? The Air Canada start branding in 2000, its maintenance, repair, and overhaul operations as a separate entity, and then 2004 transformed it into a dependent legal entity, and then in 2007 sold it off, and then in 2008 the new entity was rebranded Avios. So really technically the workers really belong to Air Canada. So I have a concrete proposal. I don't know whether you agree with it or not. Do you think the Government of Canada should tighten the Air Canada Participation Act to mandate Air Canada to rehire its 2,600 heavy maintenance workers, and also prevent Air Canada from sending jobs to outside Canada? Because there's a debate right now whether the Participation Act is worth the paper it's written on. Now, Chuck Straw and all the various ministers, when they came in front of the committee, and even in the House of Commons on March 2nd, 2001, in answering the question is Thomas Mulcair, 2011, in answering the question to Thomas Mulcair, it said there would not be, this is the Chuck Straw, at the time Minister of Transport, said there would not be any job losses. Air Canada said it's going to maintain its overhauled centres in Winnipeg, Mississauga, and Montreal. No job loss is a good thing, etc. Right? So they've been promised the workers over and over and over again that the law is going to protect them. Well, if they're now saying, "Oh, sorry, the law doesn't protect you," you can't have it both ways. You said it did for what, 8-10 years? Now you said, "Oh, sorry, it doesn't." Well, then shouldn't the law be amended to make sure the workers get rehired by Air Canada, and also to prevent Air Canada from sending jobs outside U.S. At the seat over there where Mr. Atkinson was sitting, I asked precisely, are you, and actually my colleagues also asked, are you planning to send some jobs to U.S.? Got to dance around. We don't know. We may have to. How many? We're not sure. So I can just see it coming that a lot of the jobs that are highly trained, good-paying jobs are going to go down to the States. So is that something that's what you're asking for the government to do? Because it wasn't clear in some of your answers. If the law doesn't protect you right now, change the law. Is that what you're asking for? Whoever wants to answer the question, whether it's Mr. Ekman or Mr. Atkinson or Mr. Poirier.
Écoutez, Madame Charles, je pense que vous mettez direct le point sur le bon bobo. Vous avez le ministre Flaherty, on recule pas en 88, là, on recule l'année passée, là, qui dit que présentement Air Canada suivait la loi à cause que ses subsidiaires, c'est comme ça qu'on appelle ça, qui étaient à Aveos, étaient dans ces installations-là. Ils sont plus là, on recule pas en 88, là, on recule à peu près là, 1 an. Là. On a M. Pigeon, dont l'avis juridique présentement qui est sorti au niveau du gouvernement, qui disait qu'on ne sait pas, c'est un centre de révision, OK? Mais M. Pigeon, en 2006, pas en 2004, en 2006, disait que ACTS, qui était rendu une division autre qu'Air Canada, devait se conformer au niveau de la loi. Si vous voulez, je peux vous lire vraiment les bonnes paroles, mais j'en donnerai une copie par la suite. Écoutez, le gouvernement, OK, c'est bon. Le gouvernement, présentement, il a une responsabilité. Que ça soit Aveos, que ça soit Lufthansa Technique, que ça soit la compagnie que vous voulez, il faut qu'Air Canada garantisse les contrats. Il n'y aura aucun investisseur qui va rentrer ici si Air Canada ne garantit pas ces contrats-là, puis que ça soit fait dans ces villes-là. C'est l'esprit de la loi. Il faut que le travail reste dans ces installations-là.
Did Air Canada deliberately staff Avios? Because there seems to be a dispute. Avios said that you're not giving us the contracts for the work that we have to do, because I understand that in 1988, Air Canada executives came in front of the House of Commons committee and said that its maintenance division was profitable. So it was making money. How do you run a company when it was making money when you received it into the ground at the end of the day? So is it true that some of the contracts that should have been given to Avios wasn't given? Because that was one of the accusations. So Air Canada was deliberately trying to staff Avios. Oui. Is that the case?
Je vais laisser mon collègue de Winnipeg répondre à cette question-là.
To answer that question, we attended quarterly meetings with Air Canada and Avios that dealt with the scheduling of heavy maintenance programs throughout the year in all 3 locations. Mm-hmm. During these meetings, we would set a Gantt chart, as it was called, which was the heavy maintenance schedule for the entire year. It would go January to January, showing the gaps in the summer because Air Canada would fly their aircraft in the summer. As we proceeded through the beginning of this year, we noticed aircraft being changed and our Gantt chart meetings being more frequent. The more we showed up for meetings, the less aircraft that showed up. I don't know what happened business-wise between Air Canada and Avios, but I can tell you from a scheduling point of view, aircraft started to be removed from the Gantt chart, which meant our workers, our employees had no work to do, our members. Ah. Our members had no ability to do any aircraft, and the white space, as we called it, which is no aircraft available within the locations, started to grow. This led to the subsequent CCAA application.
Thank you. I have to interrupt there.
Mr. Atkinson, since you're the big cheese today of the union. What do we intend to do? The time frame is also not just based. I want the political to do their job. I hope that, of course, we won't have a report, but that's televised, so somebody will listen. But at the same time, what's your time frame about to sue that Air Canada?
That process is already started with our legal. I mean, and any legal process now seems to take forever and ever. I mean, for realistically, and the reasons why we're here and what I'm hearing here today from both sides, it really concerns me, because what the chairman pointed out, that these are the leaders of the country here that are supposed to be looking after all of our citizens, and all I'm hearing from the Conservative side is pass the buck, let's deflect, let's talk about how come Air Canada or the Avios is not put into the Air Canada Act, the IM is not into the Air Canada Act, and there's no real, there's nothing coming back from the Conservative side of the House that what are we going to do about it? We hear that there's a job plan going forward, but my members don't see that. My members are out on the street. As you've heard from all of my confreres here, there's very little that would be needed to get those members back to work. And it seems that all we're hearing is, well, it's someone else's fault. We can't do anything about this. And that, to me, is not a good answer.
C'est pour ça, M. Atkinson, moi, là, on a un gouvernement qui dit « arrangez-vous avec vos troubles ». On a un budget jeudi dernier, arrangez-vous avec vos troubles. Mais moi, ce qui m'inquiète le plus, c'est que ça veut dire que quand on fait une loi, on ne pourra ni respecter son esprit ni sa lettre. Alors, il faut qu'on trouve une façon, parce qu'il va y avoir plein d'autres AVAS éventuellement. Moi, je pense qu'il faut marcher de la gomme puis marcher en même temps. Il faut trouver une façon pour protéger les jobs. Il faut trouver une façon pour protéger les centres de révision, parce qu'il y va même de l'industrie, mais il va aussi au niveau de la réalité syndicale au sein d'une entreprise. Je ne suis pas un syndicaliste à outrance, mais je pense que quand les travailleurs ont des droits, puis il y a une raison pourquoi il y a des syndicats, puis il faut aller chercher le juste équilibre. Alors, moi, je vous dis bien humblement, des fois ça arrive, je suis humble, je suis capable, find a way. And we are pushing. I mean, I've been there since day one. I mean, we're all pushing. But it's just not only about Avios. It's about the future of our aerospace. It's about our future, because right now we have an anger in Windsor, and since that the law cannot be respected, they're going to give jobs non-unionized there. They're going to give the job away. They're gonna clean out Montreal, and then what? Well, let's go to the United States, because in the state they have all the certificate, and we'll go there. Regardez, on va faire des pressions, malgré que c'est un gouvernement majoritaire. Mais moi, je dois vous dire, faut arrêter, oui, de se garrocher le POC, là. Écoutez, je pense qu'il faut que le syndicat aussi dise, on poursuit, les gouvernements provinciaux vont vous supporter, l'opposition va vous supporter, puis on ne commencera pas à penser qu'il faut changer la loi. Commencez donc par respecter la loi. Alors moi, je suis un peu déçu quand l'NPD dit, est-ce que si on change la loi, ça va être bon? Juste l'appliquer puis la respecter. Parce que si on la change, ça veut dire qu'avant, elle était respectée puis ça ne fonctionnait pas.
Écoutez, M. Kader, moi, je vais aller plus loin que vous, là. Moi, je remets le système des lois présentement au niveau fédéral. Je remets ça sur la table. Il n'y a plus rien qui se passe. Vous avez absolument raison. La loi, l'esprit de la loi n'est pas respecté. Écoutez, ces lois-là sont votées démocratiquement. Aujourd'hui, on est en train de dire au peuple canadien, écoutez, là, regardez, là, même si vous votez une loi, là, vous allez peut-être avoir un gouvernement qui va dire, regarde, là, je n'avoue plus comment c'était dans le temps. C'est ça qu'on est en train de refaire. Là. Donc là, aujourd'hui, on parle de la loi sur la participation publique au capital d'Air Canada au niveau des centres de révision. Mais demain matin, ça va être un autre loi qui va revenir. C'est ça. Là, on est en train de vraiment dire à notre société que les lois qu'on base au Canada ne valent plus rien. Moi, je disais tout le temps la semaine passée, j'ai dit, écoutez bien, là, si je m'en vais voler une banque, on va me mettre les menottes. Aujourd'hui, il y a une loi qui n'est pas suivie, puis personne ne se fait arrêter. Fait que non, je vous suis. Je suis absolument d'accord avec ce que vous dites.